Good day, students. It's nice to be with you in this presentation. My name is Edu Triumph, the contact tutor, the marker tutor in charge of this course, Computer Literacy 2, for the Diploma in Junior Primaries course. Our class today, our lesson presentation, is content discussion. So it's not an assignment based, it's not examination based. I'm going to teach you the content of this course. This presentation will be a little bit different from other presentations you must have heard from my colleagues, because this is computer literacy, so I'm going to demonstrate to you how to work on some of the application packages in this course. But first of all, what are we going to do today? Or what are we going to learn today in this lesson presentation? Our focus is going to be on Microsoft Excel. But as you know, Microsoft Excel is wide in scope. Some of you must have done ICDL and you must have taught Microsoft Excel. Microsoft Excel is wide when it comes to in terms of the scope, the content. I'm only going to focus on what is in your course outline. I'm only going to focus what is on your model. So I'm not going to teach everything about Microsoft Excel. So don't say, Mr. Edo, why is it you didn't talk about this? Why is it you did not talk about this? I'm only going to talk about what is stated outline in your course outline. So you sit down, watch, see how to work on Microsoft Excel. But before then, it's good for us to see or to know what is Microsoft Excel. Microsoft Excel is a program that allows you to use data, precisely most of the time numeric data, okay, to forecast, to manage, to predict, and to present information. It's a program that allows you to use numeric data. It's not only numeric data, but I'm using the word numeric data because most of the time we use numeric data, then we use numbers. So use data to forecast, to manage, to predict, and to present information. What are going to be our objectives in this lesson? What and what are we going to learn in this lesson? Number one, we are going to identify the various features of Microsoft Excel or a spreadsheet. We're going to see what are values and labels, how to enter data in Microsoft Excel, how to adjust your column width, and so many other things we are going to discuss in this presentation. On your screen, you can see the objectives. Here are our objectives on the screen. All right. I'm not going to read all the objectives. I'm going to discuss them one after the other. To work on Microsoft Excel or any other package, or any application package on a computer, the first thing you have to do is to open that Microsoft Excel to launch that Microsoft Excel. So you go to your Stats. Follow me as I demonstrate. Go to your Stats. You're going to see all programs. Then you would look for Microsoft Office, Microsoft Office, Microsoft Office. Then when you look at Microsoft Office, among the packages or program that you have in Microsoft Office, you're going to see Microsoft Excel. Then click on it. It opens. What next, or what do you do from here? Here you have different options that you can click on. But first of all, I'm going to use the blank worksheet, or the blank workbook rather, the blank workbook. So open a blank workbook. It comes out in this manner. Before we go into working on Microsoft Excel in detail, it will be good for us to identify some of the features that you can see on the screen or you can see on this spreadsheet. I will start from here. Can you see where the mouse is pointed to? It's called, this is Book 1 Excel. But the whole of this place is actually called, not Book 1 Excel. This place has a name which I'm going to give to you. So what precisely we are going to see the various names of all these things that you see here. When you open a new blank Microsoft Excel, you see it as Book 1, or if it is not new, if one has been opened before now, it becomes Book 2, Book 3, Book 4, and so on and so forth. Because this is the first time I'm opening it here now, it is called Book 1 because it has not been given a name. And here you can see Excel telling me I'm presently working on Microsoft Excel. So if I come to your computer where you are working, if I look at your screen, I can tell you the package or the program you are working on if I look at this place. But I have been calling it this place, but it has a name. We'll call it the title bar. What is this? The title bar. Again, the title bar. So the title bar shows you the name of the document and the program you are working on. Now it shows me Book 1, as I said, because I'm yet to give it a name. So it shows Book 1. And it shows me Excel because I'm working on Excel package. So the title bar shows you the name of the package or the program you are working on and the name of the current document that is open. Let us move further to identify other features of Microsoft Excel, as you can see on the screen. From here, where you have the file, home, insert, page layout, formulas, data, review, view, and so on, we call them the tab, T-A-B, the tab, T-A-B. Each tab has a group of commands. Each tab has a group of commands. For example, if I click on Home, here under Home, you can see various or different types of group of commands. We call them the ribbon. So you see different group of commands. If I click on Insert, you see different group of commands. If you click on Layout, you see different group of commands, that is the ribbons. We are going to learn one after the other the name of each of these ribbon or these commands and what to use them for and how to use them. Let's move further to identify other features of Microsoft Excel, as you can see from the screen. We have here the name box. The name box. The name box shows you the name of the active cell. As the discussion continues, you're going to see what an active cell is. As the discussion continues, you're going to see what a cell is. You're going to see the name of a cell and how to name a cell. Precisely what I want you to know for now is the name box shows the name of the cell that is active. What more apart from that? Here is called the formula bar. Here is called the formula bar. The formula bar displays, it shows the name of the current formula of the current active cell. What is Mr. Edo saying? Oh, Mr. Edo, you are here again with your problem. I'm not here with problem. I just want to tell you some reality here. For example, don't worry about the formulas I'm using now. We've not got into that point where I have to explain to you this is how to write a formula. No, don't worry about the formula I'm using now. I just want to show you what and what can be found in the formula bar. Now, if you look at the formula bar, you can see here A1 plus A2. So it shows you the formula that of the cell that is currently active. So this is the formula bar. I will show you how to work on formulas later. What more must you know when it comes to Microsoft Excel? Microsoft Excel, the spreadsheet, has what is called columns. A spreadsheet is divided into columns and rows. Here are my columns. Column A, column B, column C, column D, column E, column F. You know the English alphabet? Remember when you were in your pre-nursery school? Can you remember this little beautiful song? A for apple, B for bread, C for cat. That is die, by the way. Okay, so you have G, H, I, J, K, L, M, and so on. We have rows also. Row 1, row 2, row 3, row 4, row 5, and so on. The intersection of a column and a row is known as a cell. The intersection of a column and a row is known as a cell. You know the word intersection in mathematics, we mean where they meet. So where a column and a row meet is called a cell. Let's take, for example, this is column A, row 1, they both meet here. So this is cell A1. Cell A1. Cell A1. This is cell A2. Cell A3. I prefer I write them in capital later so that you can see them clearly from where you are. I'll probably increase the size so that you can see it more clearly. Good, you can see better now. So each of these boxes that you see, they are called cell, not boxes. I'm just trying to use that literary word for you to understand better. So they are all cells and each cell has a name. So you can say this is A1. Why? Because it belongs to column A and row 1. This is cell B1. Can you see? This is cell B2, B3, and so on and so forth. So I can make it a little bit bigger so that you can see how it looks like. So can you see that each cell has a name? And what can you observe when I type on a cell? The name of that cell will be displayed at the name box. I want you to know something else here. And what is that? What we call cell range. Cell range. You know the word range in Microsoft Excel, it means you have more than one cell. What I mean by a range of a cell? For example, if I have from here down to this place, it's a range because it's already more than one cell. So how do you name it? Remember I started from where? A1 here up to H1. So if you look at it, I have A1, I have B1, I have C1, I have D1, I have E1, I have F1, I have G1. Let me make it bigger so that you can see clearly what I'm talking about from where you are watching the presentation. Now, if I'm going to write this in an examination, instead of me writing something like A1, B1, C1, D1, E1, F1, D1, there is no need for that. We put them in a range. We put it in a range. How do you write your range? Pay attention as you see how I'm going to write my range. I will say A1 to G1. A1 to G1. So I don't need to write all the cells one after the other. No. It's a waste of time. It's a waste of time. Write it, put it in a range. And it's very simple. The logic is pick the first one and the last one. I said A1 to G1. So everybody, all the cells in that range are covered from the first one to the last one. I'll give you one more example. Let's look at this place that I just highlighted. And I want you to write this range. How will you write it? If you look at it, you see that the first cell here is cell D3. The first cell here is cell D3, and the last one is cell H16. So I can probably just write D3 to H16. That gives me the range. So you use range to write when you have more than one cell. Very simple. As I said, pick the first one and the last one. Do you understand? Yes. I'm going to answer for you because you are not there to answer for me. What else must I want you to pay attention here? I want you to take note that in a workbook, in one workbook, you can have as many cells as possible. So you can have as many cells as possible in one workbook. For example, presently I have a sheet 1. I can add more by clicking on the plus sign. I can add more worksheets. And each worksheet can be given a name. Each worksheet can be given a name. For example, you are a teacher. You teach English, grade 1 to grade 3. Now you want to use Microsoft Excel to compute your learners' results. You can, for example, use the first sheet for grade 1. You can use the second sheet for grade 2. You can use the third sheet for grade 3. But the whole workbook is called examination results. But within that workbook, there are different worksheets. So in order not to confuse yourself or to make it easier, it is always advisable for you to rename it. So instead of doing that, calling it sheet 1, you can rename. How do you rename? Right click on it. Among the options displayed, you can see rename. Then you can write it. So for example, I can say grade 1. Here, right click, rename, grade 2. All right. The same thing. If you don't want to right click, you can have the second option, which is by double clicking on it. Just double click on it. Can you see? I'm sure you must have learned how to double click, how to click from Computer Literacy 1 as taught by my colleagues. So you can see I can have so many worksheets in one workbook. Can have so many worksheets in one workbook. Let us continue to talk about Microsoft Excel. Don't worry, you will understand how to work on it. In life, people say things are difficult. I don't believe anything is difficult. Everything to me is as easy as eating kapana. So don't worry about Microsoft Excel being difficult. Just sit down, relax, pay attention to what I do, listen to what I say, demonstrate, play with the computers. One day you will get to know it very well. The next thing Mr. Edo is going to talk about is what is called the types of data that we use when it comes to Microsoft Excel. What are the types of data that can be worked on or can be used when it comes to Microsoft Excel? In Microsoft Excel, we have two types of data. We have two main types of data. And what are these data? We have what is called values, and we have what is called labels. Those are the two types of data that we have when it comes to Microsoft Excel. So when you're working on Microsoft Excel, it's either you're working on values or you're working on labels. The question is this: what is a value? What is a value? What is a label? Basically, values are numbers. Values are numbers. So whenever you enter a number or anything that has to do with figures in Microsoft Excel, you are talking about values. All right? Whenever you enter anything that has to do with alphabet, that is a label. So a label are alphabets. Numbers are values. But apart from alphabet being labels, all special characters, something like the question mark, the full stop, the greater than sign, the less than sign, all these characters, they are also taken as labels. Remember, Mr. Edo said there are two types of data you can work on when it comes to Microsoft Excel. What are they? Values and labels. Labels are alphabets and any other special characters. Values are numbers. Okay, let us demonstrate. If I have 34, I have 54, I have 75, all these are numbers. All these are numbers. But we don't call them numbers in Microsoft Excel. We call them values. We call them values. So, if I have this, I love my name, you know. Triumph, I love my name, you know. And then, I have Windook. Windook. These are labels. These are labels. Why? Because they are alphabets. If I have these also, the question mark, the greater than, the less than, the full stop, the comma, these are also labels in Microsoft Excel. I want you to look at your screen critically. What is it I want you to pay attention to? Look at the values. Are they on the right-hand side or they are on the left-hand side of the cell? Where are they? You agree with me that the values are on the on the right-hand side. The values, they are on the right-hand side. Now look at the labels. They are on the left-hand side. So all values are by default placed at the right-hand side of the cell. All labels by default are placed on the left-hand side of the cell. I'm using the word by default because as a user, you can change. You have the opportunity to change. You can change the alignments, either from to the center, can you see? To the right, to the left, so you can change. But by default, if you type in a label, automatically it will be on the left-hand side, while a value will automatically be on the right-hand side. So we have two types of data, values and labels. How do you enter data into Microsoft Excel spreadsheet? There is nothing difficult about it. Just type from your keyboard. But only what I want you to take note of is you can only type into a cell that is active. You can only type data whether it is value, or it is a label, such data can only be entered into a cell that is active. Now the question is, what cell or which cell is regarded as an active cell? Which cell do you take to be an active cell? Which cell do you take to be an active cell? The active cell is the cell where the cell pointer is. Can you see the cell pointer as I'm selecting it? So wherever the cell pointer is the active cell. So if I select this, G1 is the active cell, F1 is the active cell, B3 is the active cell, and the active cell name is always displayed at the name box. So if I'm going to enter data into cell B5, I must move the active cell into cell B5. If you don't move it there, whatever you type will appear in whichever cell that is active. So always move your cell pointer to any cell that you want to make active before you can type data into it. You can use your mouse or use your arrow keys on your keyboard. The up arrow key, the down arrow key, the left arrow key, and the right arrow keys. These, I believe, or presume, we are not in the court of law where we presume innocent. This, I believe, that you must have learned from computer literacy too. Are you fine? Are you learning Microsoft Excel gradually? Good. I can see a smile on your face. You know, the good thing about this is what Mr. Edo have spoken of for some time now. Let's assume you don't understand. You can play it over and over. This is technology. You can play it over and over and over in case you don't understand. We're moving further now to something else in Microsoft Excel. Now we're going to look at the following: how to adjust your columns width, that is the size of your columns, how to adjust the height of your row. What do I mean? Take for example, I'm working on Microsoft Excel, then I type, so I'm going to go on to sheet 2, I type the following. Maybe I type English language. Now, what will you observe? Let me make it bigger than the way it looks like so that you can have a look at it properly. I have, okay, can you see English language? Can you tell me the name of the cell where English language is typed in? Some of you might say A1, fine. Some of you might say B1, no. C1, no. D1, no. No. I type it in cell A1. I type it in cell A1. But because of the length of my text, it has split down to D1. So what do I need to do is to adjust my column to fit in what I typed now. So how do I adjust the column? You click on the boundary, that is where column A stops. Just click here, hold down your mouse, hold down the mouse, and drag, and drag, and drag until you get the desired width or size you want. Can you see? Column A is bigger than other columns. So you can adjust the width of your columns as desired. You can adjust the width of your columns as desired. May God grant you your desired. Whatever you desired may be granted. Amen. Not a pastor here. Okay, let's talk about the role also. I can type something here inside the role. I can equally increase the height of the role. Just click on where it stops. Let's say I want to increase the height of role 2. You click here and drag. Can you see? So you can adjust your columns and rows. Adjust your columns the way you want it and your rows. They are adjustable. That is how to adjust your columns and rows. So if I give you an assignment and I specify in your assignment your column should be 52,70, you know what I'm talking. Adjust your column to fit in your data, you know how to do it. Adjust your row to fit in your data, you know what to do. Okay? You are so lucky nowadays that we can present classes that you can listen to over and over at your convenient time. We are going to look at how to format your labels in Microsoft Excel. How to format your labels in Microsoft Excel. For example, I type the word English language. I can bold it, select it first. Then you click on bold. Can you see? Italics. You can underline it. And the good thing here is that in Microsoft Excel, you have also double underline that we can talk about later. I can change the text color from black to any other colors, to red, to yellow, to blue of Chelsea, to other colors that I want. Apology to other members who are not members of Chelsea, because I love the blues, but apology to other people anyway. Okay. There are so many things you can add to your text. You can format your text to your taste or as being specified in your question. Most of them you can get them from Homes tab. So if you go to Home tab, then you can see bold, underline, italics, the field colors, and so on. I've told you how to rename a spreadsheet already. Remember I explained to you the other time how to change the name of your spreadsheet. We are going to look at the next thing in our discussion here. How do you save? How do you save your workbook? How do you save your workbook? To save your workbook, you click on File. Assuming you're working on 2013, 2016, 2010, you click on File, you click on Save As, then you have to choose the folder or where it should be saved. If you want it to be saved in My Documents, select that. If you want it to be saved on the desktop, or browse, that is, search for any other folder where it should be saved. So I want it to be on My Document. Then I can say the file name. Let me call it Triumph. I call the file name Triumph. Then I will click on Save. Let us go back to our title bar. Here you don't see Book 1 again. What do you see? Triumph. It was Book 1 because as of then it was not given a name. So if you look at the title bar, it shows you the name of the workbook and the program I'm working on. And if you look down your workbook, it tells you I am in a worksheet called Grade 2. Let us move further now to see how to work on formulas and functions in Microsoft Excel. To work on formulas and functions in Microsoft Excel. This is an area that we always test you on in an examination, and this is an area most students always have problem with when it comes to the use of functions in Microsoft Excel. First of all, I'm going to talk about formulas. You create formulas yourself in Microsoft Excel. But you know, your course outline always specify few formulas that you must know. Your course outline always specify few functions that you must know, because it's just computer literacy. We are not going too deep about it. Let me put in some numbers to demonstrate how to work in or work with formulas. Here I have some values. Remember, values are numbers. I have value here 34, 56, 32, 47. Now I want you to create a formula. I want you to create a formula that can add these values together. I want you to create a formula that can add these values together. If you are going to work on formulas in Microsoft Excel, the first thing you type is equal sign. If you don't put the equal sign, that formula is not going to work. The first thing is type equal, then followed by the formula. How do I do it? I'm going to add together 34, 56, 32, 47. So how do you add them? You don't use the name of you don't use the numbers. You don't use the values. You use the name of the cells where those values are. You use the name of the cells where the values are. Do you understand me? Yes. Now look at 34. What is the name of the cell where you find 34? This is cell A1, right? So I can say A1. What is the name of the cell where you have cell 56? A2. So I can say plus A2. I want everything in capital letter. A2. All right. The 32 is A3 plus the last one, 47, in A4. Let me just adjust some of this. I want everything in capital letter, please, so that you can see clearly from where you are. A2 plus A3 plus A4. There is no magic here. There is nothing difficult with Mr. Edu, what he has done here. Look at my values. I have 34, I have 56, I have 32, I have 47. Each of them are in a particular cell. So I only use the name of the cells where they belong. A1 plus A2 plus A3 plus A4. That's all. Then after that, what happens next? You press your enter key. So here is the total. What have I done? I added together all these values by using a formula that was created by me, by saying A1, A2 plus A3 plus A4. Where can you see your formula? Can you remember what I told you at the introduction? At the formula bar. So if you look at my formula bar, here I can see the formula used by me. So simple as iti kapana. Ne, good. Let us go beyond this. In my discussion, I mentioned, I'm trying to be very slow here so that you can get it you can really understand what I'm trying to say. I'm very good at talking very fast, but I don't want to talk too fast in this presentation. That's why I like it going slow motion. You understand? Good. Now I said A1 plus A2 plus A3 plus A7. What if I have this up to 1 million Will I say A1 plus A2 plus A3 plus A7 plus A8, A9, A10 up to 1 million? It's a waste of time. And as a human being, there is that possibility of you missing one or omitting one. So what must you do? It is always advisable for you to use or put it in a range where possible. Let us put this in the range now. Then I'm going to work or use a function called sum. I'm going to use a function called sum. Sum is a function that is used to add values together. Sum is a function that is used to add values together. See how I'm going to use it. Equal. First, then you put the function, which is sum. You open the bracket, then the range. Don't forget what I told you about range. If you flash back your video presentation, the first cell and the last cell. So I have from A1 to A4. So I will say A1 to A4. Then you close the brackets. This is a function called sum that can be used to add values together. I want you to look at it, how I wrote it. A1 to A4. The first thing is the equal sign, the name of the function. I use sum here because I'm going to add values together. Then the range. After that, press the enter key. It gives you the answer. It must be this. We have looked at the sum function. Which other functions must you know according to your course outline? Is the average function. The average function. We all know in mathematics how to calculate average. How to calculate average? You add together all your variables, divide by the total number of variables. I have here with me 34, 56, 32, 47. If I want to find the average of these numbers, how do I go about it? I have two ways of going about it. I can find the total first and divide my total by the number of variables. Or I find the average directly. How? Watch and see. I can say equal sum, open a bracket, A1 to A4, close the bracket, press the enter key. Here is my total. Then I can divide my total by how many? 1, 2, 3, 4. So I can say equal. Can you see my total is 169? But I must not use 169. I must reference the cell where you have 169. So I will say, remember the name of the cell where this 169 is cell A5, divide by 4. This is our division, the slash. The slash is our division. Then you press enter. The average is 42.25. Another method of calculating the average is to use the average function. You say equal average. The spelling must be right, otherwise it's not going to work. Open a bracket, A1 to A4. That is, find the average. It means that Computer, please find the average of all the numbers from A1 to A4. Then press the enter key. It gives you the same answer, 42,25. So you can create your own formula or use a function, a predefined formulas in Microsoft Excel. Another function that we must learn how to use is known as min, and another one max. Max. Min and max. Min and max. Min is a function that is used to pick the minimum or to display the minimum values you have in a spreadsheet. If you look at all these values I have here, that assume you conduct a test for your learners, you want to see the least mark, you want to see the smallest mark, you use min. You want to see who got the highest value, use max. See how I'm going to do. It's the same thing. Just say equal min, open a bracket, A1 to A4, close the bracket, press enter. The smallest is 32. Among all these numbers from A1 to A4, the smallest is 32 because I use the min. If, for example, I change the 32 to something else, can you see it will change automatically to 34? It means the smallest now is 34. The same thing you can do with max. You can say equals max, that it get the highest one, open a bracket, A1 to A4. The same procedure, enter, tell you the highest is 72. So you can create your own formulas or you use the functions. Where do you get all these functions from? If you go to your tab, go to formulas, then you will see insert functions. There you will see a lot of functions that you can use in Microsoft Excel. As I told you, Microsoft Excel is a program that is wide in scope, but I'm limiting my discussion to what is specified in your course outline. What next are we going to discuss in our lesson today is data validation. Data validation. Data validation. What do we mean by data validation? Data validation means to use data that makes sense for the purpose of which they are used for. Data validation means to use data that makes sense for the purpose they are used for. You know, Mr. Edo used to say there's nothing like nonsense, because out of nonsense, you can still get sense. Take away the none, then it will become sense. Am I right? What is spelling of nonsense? You know the spelling of nonsense, né? If you take away the none, it becomes what? It becomes sense. Okay, that is a joke, by the way. Well, what I'm trying to say is we are trying to look at validation of data. Validation. Validation. Let me put a spelling on the screen so that perhaps you can see it clearly. You can understand better what I'm trying to tell you. Data validation. Data validation. How do you validate your data? Let me use an example or a scenario to bring home the point. As a teacher, you conduct a test or an examination. You know very well that a learner cannot score less than 0. A learner cannot score more than 100. So all your marks must be between 0 and 100. All your marks must be between 0 and 100. So you validate your spreadsheet to take only marks, that is, only values that are between 0 and 100. Anything outside that range should be rejected. You know, we're human beings. We are prone to errors. We are not perfect. We can make mistakes. So the validation will make it possible for computer or spreadsheet to accept only data that makes sense in that purpose. And in this example, what will make sense is between 0 and 100. Anything outside that, it is nonsense. Even though if you take away the none, it will never make sense for us here. How do you validate? Let's assume I'm going to enter my marks here. First of all, select the range where the marks are going to be entered. You click on Data tab. Move to Data Validation and click. There you go to Settings. Tell computer what should be allowed into your spreadsheet, what should be allowed into this area that I selected, into this range. I'm still going to continue with the example I'm saying about student marks or student learner's mark. I will say, computer, please accept only whole numbers between, that is, the minimum should be 0, while the maximum number should be 100. Input message is all about what message should the computer display on the screen to prompt you to put in the data. So I can say, for example, enter marks. These are optionals. I can say, please enter the mark. All right. Error alert. In case you made a mistake, how should the computer alert you? You can say wrong mark message. The way you type is the way the computer is going to say wrong mark, my friend. Wrong mark, my friend, or you can say you are wrong, my friend. Then you say, okay, I did some settings here. I only want the computer to accept whole numbers between zeros and 100. I also set up the input message and the error alert message. Then you click OK. Let us test it. Can you see enter mark? You say, please enter the mark. I can enter maybe 45. Enter another mark. I can enter 64, 78, enter 2. All these ones are accepted because I validated the spreadsheet to accept any value between 0 and 100. It's good to test it with the highest, which is 100, is accepted, 0 is accepted. But let me put in something that is outside this range to test by validation. I can say 120 to tell you a wrong mark, my friend. It will not accept it. Can you see? So as a human being, if I'm trying to enter 120 for a student, then out of mistake I enter, 12 for a student rather, and I type in 120. It will never accept it. Or I say -20, -20, it will not accept it because I say whole numbers between zeros and 100. So you validate your spreadsheet to take only the data that should be accepted, that makes sense for that purpose. The next thing we are going to look at is what we call cell referencing. Cell referencing. I already mentioned these cell referencing in my discussion, but for the purpose of emphasis, I will reiterate it again. Cell referencing is all about you making a reference to the name of the cell instead of the content of the cell. You making a reference to the name of the cell instead of the content of the cell. For example, here I have 45. Instead of me saying, okay, I have 45 here, I have 64. If I want to add the two together, by way of cell referencing, I should say cell A1. Can you see now? Plus cell A2. I'm referencing the cell here, not the content. So I didn't say 45 plus 64. No. I say A1 plus A2. So whenever you reference a cell, you refer to the name of the cell, not the content of the cell. automatically, whenever you refer to the name of the cell, whatever is the content will be used. If I say the office of the president, then you know whom I'm talking about already. All right? Okay. The next thing we're going to discuss in our lesson today is merging of cells. Mergings of cells. To merge cells. To merge cells is to combine two or more cells together. To merge cells means to combine two or more cells together. For example, this is cell D1 and E1. I can select both of them, right click on my mouse, right click on the mouse. From the options displayed, you see format cell. From the dialog box, select alignment. Then among the options, you click on or tick merge cells. Then click OK. You can see it is now one cell. Can you see it clearly from where you are? It is now one. Let me merge more. Select, right click, format cell, alignment, merge cells. Then you say OK. Then the cells will be merged. Then it will be as one. That is how to merge cells together. I'm sure you are paying attention carefully to whatever Mr. Edo has been saying since all the various demonstrations that I have been giving to you. The final thing I'm going to talk about in this presentation, according to your course outline, is how to create a chart. Is how to create a chart. In order to create a chart, first of all, I must have the table where the data will be coming from. Let's say I have names of learners here. Let me have names. Then I have their marks. All right. Let me call the names. I have Edu. I have Triumph. I like my name, you know. I have Edith. I have Jennifer. I have Prince. Okay. Let me increase the size of my labels so that you can see clearly. I want to assume these are the names of learners in my class, and here are their marks. Okay, here are their marks of the learners. Okay. Now we ask you to create a chart in Excel. It is very simple to create a chart because we have what is called a chart wizard. When you have a chart wizard, it makes it very simple. I will show you how to use a chart wizard and every other method. So first of all, select the data to be used in creating the chart. Come to Insert. Here you see different type of charts. There are different types of them here. You have the bar charts, you have the column charts. A lot of them are here, the pie charts. So you click on one to be used. The good thing is that the chart wizard will create it for you automatically. So what do you see? You see Edo scores 87. Can you see there? Triumph around 54. Edith around 62. Jennifer around 23. Prince around 44. And it equally gives it a title, although you can change the title. So to create a chart using the wizard is very simple. Select your data and click on the chart wizard. Then it will be created for you. You can amend, you can do a little bit of changes to your chart. You can format it, talk about the filling of it. You can decide to fill in with some other colors. So you can see from you can see it here. Play around with it. You will get to learn so many things about it. You can add so many elements like the title, although the title is already there, the label, the legend. The legend, you call them keys in geography, and some lines, the axis. So quite a lot of things you can add to your chart here. But the good thing, as I told you, that the wizard makes it very easy for you to create a chart. The final thing to discuss with you, according to your course outline, the final but not the least, is how to print your work done in Microsoft Excel spreadsheet. I'm not connected to the printer now, but I will demonstrate to you how to print. Before you print, I will always advise you to put a border around your data. Select your data. Under Home tab, here you see borders. It's always good to put all borders, all right, so that to make your work neat and presentable. Now come to File. There you click on Print. You click on Print. There are things that are very important if you are going to print. Number one, select the name of your printer. Select the name of your printer. Number two, select the pages to be printed. If you want to print page 1, in Excel you just say 1 to 1. If you are going to print page 2 to 3, page 1 to 2, page 1 to 2. If you are going to print only page 2, you have page 2 and 2. So select the range of what is going to be printed. You have to select the orientation, either portrait or landscape. Select the paper size, later A4 and the rest. Then, also very important, is the number of copies. How many copies do you want? 2 copies, 3 copies, 4 copies? Select them. 3 things very important. I repeat, the name of the printer to be used in printing the work, the range, that is from page what to what page, the number of copies. After that, print, just click on Print. Then your work will be printed. In summary, in our discussion today, we have learned how to open Microsoft Excel. We have learned various features of Microsoft Excel, things like name box, things like formula bar, title bar. We've seen what is a column, what is a row, the types of data we work on Excel, how to enter your data, how to adjust your column width and your row height, how to rename your worksheet, how to name your workbook, how to create a chart, how to merge cell, and so many other things that we have learned in Microsoft Excel in our lesson presentation today. Beloved students, you don't know until you know. It is not over until it's over. Play this video over and over. Go back to your computer, practice on it several times until you get used to it. If you have any problem working on Microsoft Excel, please don't fail to call Mr. Edu on phone. Call me. I will be there to answer your calls to assist you more on how to work on Microsoft Excel. Thank you.